Hey guys, Pete here. There hasn't been a lot of news about Game of Thrones Season 7 since they haven't really started filming yet, but we did get an interesting interview with Dan and Dave this week. This will be a Game of Thrones Season 7 preview with everything we've heard since Comic-Con, so it will contain potential spoilers for everything that's happened in the series up to this point. Game of Thrones showrunners did an interview with Deadline where they talked about some Season 6 stuff and the challenges involved with doing a show like this. At the end, they gave us some tidbits on what to expect for Season 7 in relation to the major characters. This is what they said about each of the big players in their own words. Daenerys Targaryen, D&D. Dany has a boundless confidence in herself and her mission in this world. Her sense of destiny makes her a compelling, charismatic leader, a messianic figure for multitudes. She has arguably the cleverest advisor on the planet in Tyrion Lannister. She has 3 dragons, an army of Unsullied, and a great Dothraki horde. What could possibly go wrong? So not much new there except for the what could possibly go wrong part. As I've been working on my Queen Cersei How Long May She Reign series, this is exactly what I've been thinking. Dany is just stacked at the moment, but no part of me thinks she's gonna actually just walk into Westeros and be handed the throne. So this is a confirmation that even though Dany looks invincible, she's gonna have a lot of problems. Cersei Lannister, D&D. Cersei will do anything to win. In the past, the only factor limiting her ruthlessness was her love for her children. Now that her children are gone, nothing restrains her. As she herself said, love is weakness. A loveless Cersei is a fearsome thing. Again, this is more of a confirmation than a reveal. We'll talk more about Cersei in a minute though. Jon Snow, D&D. Jon's honorable nature has proven a disadvantage in some regards. A man who plays by the rules will have a harder time defeating men and women who don't. But Jon's nature also provides one of his great strengths, his ability to win others to his cause. Men who respected his courage and honesty elected him Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. The free folk, who had never before aligned themselves with kneelers, chose to fight for Jon Snow because they believed in him. The Lords of the North named him King in the North because they realized he was their last best chance to survive the wars to come. The question will be whether an honorable man can overcome dishonorable enemies. As E.O. Wilson wrote, within a group, selfish individuals always win. But in contests between groups, groups of altruists always beat groups of selfish individuals. So Jon Snow better hope this is a contest between groups. The Night King, D&D. Strength, he can raise the dead and have them do his bidding. Weakness, he'll never be as funny as the Ice King. When asked about the wall and the Horn of Joramun, they said, very clearly the wall isn't a physical structure. That is keeping the army of the dead out. If it were, and if the wildlings managed to make it over, at least in theory, someone like the Night King has so much more in the way of both power and troops who will do literally anything he says. We have been laying out the likelihood that it's going to be more difficult to get past the wall than that. But we wanted to put that basic prospect out there. We'll keep it at that for now. Dan and Dave also talked about the difference between the Night King and other villains like Ramsay, who, met his ultimate end in Season 6. They say that the Night King is more a representation of death rather than evil. They say, evil comes when you have a choice between that and good, and you choose the wrong way. The Night King doesn't have a choice. He was created in that way. And that's what he is. In some ways, he's just death, coming for everyone in the story, and for all of us. There was a lot of discussion about Cersei and how far she will go to protect her power now that she is sitting on the Iron Throne. They told us what I think most of us already knew. Cersei is set up to go full-on batshit. They say if she had been more focused on her family and less focused on enjoying her revenge on someone who had done her wrong, then Tommen's suicide probably never would have happened. That's what so much of the next season is going to be about. Finding out what Cersei's mindset is, and who is she? Cersei has certainly done a lot of horrible things in her life, and she could be a very cruel person, but the one thing that was redemptive about her was she genuinely loved her children. Now they're all gone, and I think that is very interesting for us. Who is she without her children? The answer is something you'll find out about next season. To me, this hints that Cersei will be around for the entire season, but not sure if that means her death will be in the finale or during Season 8. Either way, I don't see her making it to the end of the series on this trajectory, and I think that the Maggie the Frog's prophecy will play a big role in that, in her end. Prior to this interview, we also had a video that hints at conflict between Jon and Sansa in Season 7. They also kind of teased about this at Comic-Con, so there probably is something to it. Let's watch the clip and we'll talk about it in a second.
Thrones is really at the heart of it, about dysfunctional families.
There's always been tension between them because since they were little, Sansa has always looked up to her mother and always just taken on her mother's views of everything. And her mother really didn't like Jon because of the whole affair thing. Doesn't mean that they don't love each other, but it's just, you know, typical sibling tension.
We need to trust each other. We can't fight a war amongst ourselves. We have so many enemies now.
I think Jon is oblivious. He hasn't actually learned his lesson from trying to pay attention to what she's feeling. He says he has, but he's asking her to trust him. He's not listening and watching and observing her. I think that could be a real problem for him.
I don't care if he's a bastard. Ned Stark's blood runs through his veins. He's my king, from this day until his last day.
Jon is the right man for the job. We all want a leader who's going to be decent and honourable. And I think he's definitely entitled to be running Winterfell, although Sansa might have a problem with that, I fear. Her relationship with Jon Snow, I think, is an indication of what's going to come. And I'm not sure it's going to be pretty.
The clip's a bit odd since they don't usually foreshadow big plot points like this, but at the same time it seemed pretty obvious that everything wasn't going to go smoothly in the North. They don't mention Littlefinger, but he'll probably play a big part in that as well. With such a short amount of time left and so few episodes, I don't think this whole thing will get drawn out, but all of this makes me think that the major characters will start out with a big hurdle to get over in the beginning of Season 7. Probably the most telling thing D&D gave us in the interview about Jon is that E.O. Wilson quote, "In a group, selfish individuals win, but when groups go at it, the one that is working together for a cause always win out against a group of selfish individuals." This sets the tone in the lead up to the end, and it will be interesting to see what gets in the way of each character in their journey. So what does it all mean? At this point, we can get a good idea of where Game of Thrones Season 7 will take us. Each of the main storylines are leading to the real war, which will probably occur in Season 8. Season 7 looks to be the setup where each character gets put in some tough spots that will all fall by the wayside once the White Walkers advance. I'll be making my predictions videos soon now that I have a little more info, and I think the major character stories are laid out pretty clearly at this point. So if you have any questions you want me to address in those, leave them in the comments below the video. If you're wondering how to keep yourself occupied until Season 7 comes out and you've never read the books, you should check out my top 10 reasons to do so video. It's spoiler free, so it doesn't ruin anything about the show or the books. Let me know which story you think will dominate Season 7 and which character you're most excited about. We didn't get any mention of Arya and Bran, so what do you think Season 7 has in store for them? We get a tiny thing about Jaime and his conflict with what Cersei's done, but it doesn't go into too much detail, and I'll get into that in a different video. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more Game of Thrones related videos. I have a bunch of different scripts in progress, different series I'm working on, so there'll be a ton of new videos before next season. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.
The King in the North!
He's named King in the North and she kind of gets no credit for it. Jon doesn't acknowledge everything his sister has done for him after all that they've been through. And it's not that she's looking for praise or anything. She did it because she wants revenge and also because she wants her home back. Jon, he's so naive. So Sansa's just a little bit agitated is all.